So one thing I don't think I've ever mentioned this is the Supertech 9000 and its variants are by far one of my favorite blasters. It looks awesome. The modding potential is huge. I never modded this one, but it is huge. I love the look of the shell. I love the paint job. And everything about it is just, it's my favorite blaster of all time. And the Small Soldiers blaster as well. Exactly the same blaster, different paint job. Love that as well. And I've had both of these blasters with the matching pistols for quite a while. And I've been resisting the temptation to mod these ever since I got them. I still think I'll leave them stock just in case I ever want to sell them one day. But yeah, definitely my favorite blasters. So to kind of scratch that itch a little bit, I know that you've seen I've modded quite a few of these 5Ks, but you're missing the stock. And that's always been, you know, the big thing for me. And I've put Raider stocks on them like other people have before me. I've even tried to resin cast one of these stocks, and I'll actually show you that. And it was probably would have been successful if I took a little bit more time, but the mold ended up kind of bulging and it was a total fail. But now that I've got some CAD skills and some time with some CAD design under my belt, I 3D printed one. And it's my design in SolidWorks, and the paint's a pretty close match, not totally. It looks better on camera than in person, but pretty close match, and this is just 3D printed on my little Ultimaker, or not Ultimaker, it's an Ultimaker clone. And then I breached it on the side like usual, so we'll rewind to a clip of me drawing this, and then I'll go through the blaster in a little bit more detail. So before I cut to the clip of me drawing the stock, I just want to show you the resin cast one. And this was a mold made from the Small Soldiers edition, and it's just, honestly, it's just Ugu, like, you know, the silicone and cornstarch mix. And the mold actually turned out half decent. But the casting did not, and I really don't feel like casting this again, especially now that I have the part drawn in SolidWorks. So it actually turned out, you know, kind of okay, but the mold, see, it exploded, so it's way fatter than it should have been, and it's super, super warped, and, you know, it doesn't have this feature. I didn't think this all the way through. This was the first thing I ever cast in my life, and this was like before I ever got into machining or went to school or anything, so like I was super new. I probably should have done a 2-part mold for each half, and then maybe it would have come out like the actual injection molded part, you know, maybe. But I just did this solid chunk, and I was planning on just like dremeling out the back and shoving bolts through it. But good thing I didn't do that. That probably wouldn't have been that nice. And this is super, super heavy, so I abandoned that a long time ago. But I kind of just keep it just for nostalgia. I'm sure I'll throw it out one day, but for now. Oh, there's my old pump snap. This is the part of my house that nobody uses. It's like a storage room. Yeah, never mind. But yeah, we'll go check out me drawing it now in the past. So I just finished drawing this this stock, and you may recognize it as the Supertech 9000 stock. And I just have an assembly here of the two halves. It's mostly solid except for the part that's going to go into the shell. And it's pretty close. It's not exact, but it's you know, close enough. It looks the same. Screw ports are in roughly the same position. Not that that really matters. I'm considering making one change. See this right here? This feature? Injection molding it is fine, but 3D printing it, it won't come out that nice. It'll be like stepped, and you'll see quite a bit of layers. So I think maybe for the sake of 3D printing, I'll just make this flat, and it'll turn out a little bit better. And that I don't think that little angle won't make too much of a difference. I'm going to print it like this, see how it goes, and then maybe the next one I will take out that angle. And hopefully the fit up is going to be pretty good. I tried to make it pretty tight fit, so hopefully it's not too tight. But yeah, I'll get it printed out, and then hopefully I'll show you guys. So see you in a couple days when it's printed. Alright, so hopefully you just saw the video of me drawing that in SolidWorks. I just want to show you the tank, the air tank that I have inside the blaster. And this is a different one. I made 3 actually. One is way too big and I never even bothered finishing it. You can screw it together like enough for it to be the the right length, but you know, I was going to use this 1/4 inch rod, so you know, the back of the tank is 1/4 inch, and I just thought, you know, it'd be easier to work with that. But then the way that I wanted the pull pin to go, it was just like not working out so well, and then the 1/4 inch was a little bit too much to bend the trigger, so I ended up doing it again and using this thinner stuff, and I forget what it is, but it's like, it's the right size to run a number 6 die over, so that makes it easier for me to do the mechanism in the front to seal the tank. And it's gooped together because like the threads weren't tight enough to hold the air, and you know, whatever, that's fine. And it's just, this is bored cut out of a piece of aluminum, like solid bar stock. It's, you know, boring and internal threading, external threading, whatever. And then it's just got a hose barb drilled and tapped in there, and then the normal. It seals the same way a normal Nerf tank does. Like I cut open a 2K tank just to kind of see what they did, and it was kind of what I expected. There's just like, there's a spring in here, and one end pushes against the seal that seals against here, and then the other end pushes against a little O-ring that's in like this piston. So like there's a small piston with an O-ring, and it's pushing against the back of the tank, and then that kind of like squeezes the O-ring against the rod as well as on the back of the tank here, so that seals that. And then, you know, obviously when you pull, it releases the tank out of there. It's a, like, I guess you could call it a dump valve. So yeah, anyways, there's one of these, extra one I just made, and then the other one is in the 5K. So I guess we'll just do another shot of the 5K, a little bit up close, and then shoot it a couple times, and that'll probably be it. So I did something a little bit different now, like, because all the other 5Ks, I didn't have a lathe at the time, so it was all like, you know, hand done out of PVC and polycarb and with a hole saw and all that craziness. So I didn't feel like doing any of that, honestly. I hate doing that kind of work nowadays. So it's just a lathed piece of aluminum, one piece. And then this isn't a standoff anymore. It's like a solid piece of aluminum here, and it's just turned down for the you know, shank area. And then there's a set screw that screws into there and then sticks out enough to be screwed into the aluminum. And it's the same breech I always do. It's brass, and then it's telescoping into my favorite barrel material. And this is probably about this length, and it's just, you know, McMaster aluminum, the stuff that everyone seems to be using these days. I absolutely love it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The breech is all polished and stuff, and here's a little closer thing of the stock. I sanded it as much as I, you know, felt like. I hate that kind of work. You know that I don't like painting and sanding and all that, but I gave it a good sand. Then I coated it in a few times with primer, sanded it again, one more coat, and then a few coats of this. So it turned out okay. It's definitely not like an injection molded part. You can see the layers a little bit, but it's better than just painting a 3D printed part, I think. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess we'll do one shot, and then that'll be it. So since this is an aluminum tank, I guess there's no real limit to the pumps. You know, I pumped it 15 times just to test the tank, and it was fine. So this is just 6 pumps like you normally would in a regular tank. And that's with a worker dart. So normal 5K performance. I'm pulling it with my left hand with one finger. Usually I use my right hand and 2 fingers. So it's probably not as much power because I can't pull it as quickly as with the other hand. But you get the idea. You've seen tons of these out of me before. And hope you like it. The fit up isn't as nice as I would like, so I'm probably going to revise the stock a little bit. I don't really feel like printing a bunch of these things, so I don't know, maybe I'll just like print just this section and test the fit a few times, and then when I get a good one, I'll do that. And that's pretty much it. That's all I've been really working on lately. There's another blaster in the works that's a super old project that's been you know, put on the back burner because school and work, and then I really wanted to crank this out, so I'll probably show you that hopefully soon. I've been doing more like machining projects lately. If you're interested, I got kind of a interesting milling setup going on here. I have no good way of holding round parts on the mill. Like I don't have those special. There's special blocks, V blocks you could use, or like really long toe clamps. But I don't have toe clamps that long. And I guess I could just clamp this straight to the table with the clamps. But then I'd have to take my vise off, and I really didn't want to do that. So I kind of got a little bit creative. I got these aluminum blocks just for risers, and then my longest toe clamp bolts, and then my longest toe clamps. So the 3-jaw chuck from the lathe, it's off right now, is just loosely in the vise, just just snug, and then the clamps are holding that down, and then the actual chuck is holding my part, and I'm just milling a slot in there for something I'm doing. I'm doing like a kind of a, I have these shell mill holders, and here, I'll show you actually, hold on. So this is a shell mill. This is a cheaper shell mill. It just takes these high-speed steel inserts, which I like because it's easy for me to sharpen at home. And they just fit onto these shell mill arbors here. So I have one of those. It came with this shell mill, and I just found it on eBay. I have no idea what it is. But shell mills were kind of replaced by stuff like this. This is a face mill, and they take something called indexable carbide inserts, which is, you know, quite a bit more modern than high-speed steel, and it's better for most things. But I bought this specifically for plastic and aluminum because I don't really get the best surface finish with this guy. So what I'm doing is I'm making another head to fit my shell mill holder that will basically see, it's over there again, it will basically be a giant version of this, which is my small fly cutter. So it's going to be a large fly cutter, and I'll show you an even smaller one so you kind of get the idea. There's a little baby one, and then there's a little bit bigger one. And these take high-speed steel bits, but this guy here takes a lathe tool, or it kind of looks like a lathe tool, but it's made for this. I'll show you that too. It takes these bars here, opposed to the high-speed steel thing, and then you can use the indexable carbide inserts again, and that fits in this guy there. So the idea is, sorry, I don't know why I pressed stop, but the idea is to make a giant one of these, and then I'm going to make a fairly long bar, and it might have two edge, or it might just have one, and it'll fit in there. It's a pretty nice fit, and then that'll go in my shell mill holder, and that will be for surfacing like really big parts. Like I have some engines I need to resurface, like engine blocks. I don't even know if that's what they're really called. I call them engine blocks. It might be something else, but they're not here. They're at the shop. And then I have some other exhaust manifolds to surface some big ones. I'm going to try and do a couple at once with this big bar of tool steel. Maybe I can make a fixture to hold like 3 of them and then just go across all of them at one time. Make a little bit more money that way because I can do it quicker. And hopefully this is a good tool. But anyways, guys, you know, getting really off topic. I know you're probably here for the Nerf stuff. That's it. Hopefully I'll talk to you soon. And like always, hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching.